Hey guys, it's Katie here. I am doing a video recording announcements for our July newsletter because I want you guys to be able to see me, hear me as I am speaking to some big things that will be impacting us this school year. So let's go ahead and get started. As we get started with the school year, we have two main priorities. The first, and I want to say this, I will say it again and again and again until I am blue in the face. Every decision that we will be making this school year will be made through the lens of the safety of our staff, students, and families. Our other priority is rigorous and joyful instruction. We were able to really reinvent what instruction looked like last spring, and we were able to continue delivering on rigorous, college-ready instruction and bring a culture of joy that made kids feel proud of their work and excited to be engaging with our school. We will continue doing that as we go into the 2020-2021 school year. How we will operate. This is what you can expect. First and foremost is safety. We will be doing things as safe as we possibly can within the federal and state guidelines to ensure that we are keeping each other and our students safe. Second is transparency. I want you to know that as a leader, I will always tell you guys things when I find out. So if a decision is made and it's a big thing that's going to impact your line of work, I will be transparent with you. Anything that's going to be directly impacting you that I know about, I want you guys to know that I will be telling you. I'm not going to sugarcoat things because that's not the kind of person I am. I want to make sure that you know the facts so you can make the most informed decisions that you can for yourself. Flexibility. As we go into this school year, it's going to be very similar to the way that last school year ended. We went away for spring break and we never came back, physically at least. That is what the school year could look like. We could end up going back physically and then going back to virtual and back to physical and back to virtual. I don't know what exactly to expect, which is why I am preparing myself and I am urging all of you to prepare yourselves that we will need to be extremely flexible as we go into this school year. At last, empathy for ourselves and for others. We got to care about ourselves, we got to take care of ourselves, and we have to take care of each other. This is a completely different thing than any of us have ever experienced before, and it's important that we are there for ourselves and for each other during this time. Which brings me to this idea of locus of control. It is really easy for me, I'm not gonna lie, to focus on the things that I do not have control over. I'm guilty of nighttime news scrolling and Instagram hashtag searching about all of the things that are currently in this sphere here of everything else, the things that we cannot control. Things like whether or not schools open. Things like how schools are funded. Things like how staff is paid and how much money we get for our school budget. I wish we had control over that stuff, guys, but unfortunately, we don't. We don't got control over any of that, okay? That is all coming from the state, the federal government, and idea national policies. There are things that we can influence, though. Things like our campus policies. Things like what our staff culture feels like. Things like what our student culture feels like. Those are all things that every single one of us have direct influence over. The thing that all of us should be spending the most energy on is the things within our sphere of control. Things like whether or not we wear a mask, both at work and in our personal lives. Things like whether or not we socially distance, both at work and in our personal lives. How we set boundaries to ensure that we work when we're working and live our lives outside of work when we are not on the schedule. How we bring joy to the classroom. Kids are looking to us to be their beacon of hope and a place where they can find some joy. That is something that we can control. And we can control whether or not we take care of ourselves. And one thing that we will be talking a lot about this year as a campus is what is within our locus of control. Because when it comes to self-care, it is an act of self-care to focus on the things that are within our sphere of control. Those are the things that will make us that we have direct control over, that will make us safe, that will make us as happy as we can be during this time. With that, we are going to talk about a few things about returning to instruction. These are things that are mostly dictated by the state and federal level. And this is the most recent update as of July 10th. Things are changing as we speak. So by the time you open this email, it's possible that some of these things might have changed. So for now, I'm going to go through and talk about each of these bullet points. So first, we will return to in-person and virtual learning at the beginning of the 2020-2021 school year. Parents will have the option to choose whether they do in-person or virtual learning. As of the preference survey that we've conducted, as of now, it looks like about 50% of parents at Palmer Park have indicated that they would like in-school instruction. Second key point. There are a lot of federal restrictions, state restrictions, and IDEA policies. Within that, there is still a lot of wiggle room for the types of choices that we make as a campus. And I want to be very clear. At IDEA Palmer Park, we will always implement the safest protocols possible. That means that we will wear masks, we will socially distance, we will have small class sizes, we will not have student or teacher rotations. That is because within the guidelines and the rules and requirements, we will always make the most safe decision we possibly can within that. Instruction will be through Microsoft Teams, which is an application you'll be trained on at New Teacher Institute and beginning of year PD. Students through this application will be able to access instruction both at school and virtually at home, which means that kids are going to have the same exact instruction whether they're at home or at school. You'll get a lot of training on this to come, so don't worry too much about it yet. But I do want to make sure you know that coverage for planning and for lunch will be provided to give you some time, just like mentally to breathe and to take care of yourself during the day, and also to plan for the rigorous, joyful instruction that we will be executing at Palmer Park. And last but not least, I want to leave you with this. There are a lot of things that we are uncertain about, that we might be sad, anxious, or fearful about due to the pandemic and the current COVID-19 circumstances. There has been immense grief in our nation due to a lot of police brutality and the ensuing racial awakening that our country has been going through due to the incredible Black Lives Matter movement. And due to the pandemic, there has been a lot of changes in schools, things like purchasing one-to-one devices for every student, things like different providers being able to provide free Wi-Fi to low-income students. So when I think about the current circumstances, we are at both times in our nation at a time of sadness, grief, fear, and anxiety, and at a point in our nation's history where people are listening. People are listening to voices that have not been lifted in the past when it comes to matters of race. People are listening when it comes to parents and students and their needs. And when I think about our nation's history, I believe that this is something that we're going to look back to in about 20 or 30 years, and we're going to see this is a moment of history, a moment of great change in our nation and a great change in education, which in my mind brings a lot of hope for what we can accomplish together as at IDEA Palmer Park this school year. I believe that together our Panther staff will be reinventing what schools can look like as we go into the future. We can incorporate the best messages of the Black Lives Matter movement and really inspect our culture systems and our curriculum and the way that we do things at our school to make sure that everything is equitable and just for all of our students. As we go into this school year, we have this possibility to reinvent our instructional model to incorporate more digital learning and the best practices that we were able to come up with together as a campus last spring. So when I think about this school year, though it is so tempting for me to think about that outside sphere of influence, the part that I don't have any influence over, I am working so hard, and I urge all of us to work really hard to think about what is within our locus of control. Because when I think about what is possible when we focus on the things we can control, I believe that we have the ability right now more than ever before to control what education will transform into, both at our campus and at the nationwide level as a whole. As we go into the rest of these next few weeks before coming back for beginning of year PD, I will be having some Q&A sessions just to be able to hear from you guys. I've included a survey in this newsletter. I want to hear from you guys. And last but not least, my number is 512-422-6835. Call me, text me, I don't know, message me, whatever the things are, beat me, call me, beat me if you want to reach me. I am here. I care about you. And I want to know, how are you doing? How are you feeling? What ideas do you have? What fears do you have? I am here for you and I care about you. So please don't hesitate to reach out. All right, y'all. I hope that you guys have a good next couple weeks, and I will be seeing you shortly. Bye, everybody.